Listen up, because we're about to go deep into some seriously uncharted territory. Forget your Michelin stars and your tasting menus. Today we're talking about real hospitality, the kind that pushes buttons and challenges everything you thought you knew about different cultures. We're talking about the kind of welcome that involves a man offering his wife to his guest for the night. From the steppes of Mongolia to the icy plains of Greenland, we're going to explore the history, the customs, and the often uncomfortable realities behind this practice. So buckle up, grab a drink, and get ready to question everything you thought you knew about hospitality. This is a journey into the heart of human connection, where the lines get blurry and the only thing you can be sure of is that things are about to get very, very interesting. We begin our journey in Mongolia, a landlocked country with a rich nomadic history and a culture deeply rooted in hospitality. Picture this: endless steppes, the wind howling across the plains, and a lone jir, a traditional Mongolian yurt, offering shelter from the elements. You're a traveler, exhausted and hungry, desperate for a warm meal and a place to rest your head. You're welcomed into the jir with open arms, offered salty milk tea and perhaps some dried yak meat. You're safe, you're warm, and you're about to experience hospitality like no other. In ancient Mongolia, a guest was considered a sacred being. Their comfort and well-being were paramount, and a host would go to any lengths to ensure their satisfaction. This included, in some cases, offering their wives as a gesture of ultimate hospitality. Before you jump to conclusions, it's important to understand the context. This wasn't about sexual gratification, it was about survival in a harsh and unforgiving environment. Sharing a wife in this context was seen as a way to ensure the guests' physical needs were met, to provide them with warmth and comfort in a land where those things could mean the difference between life and death. Think of it as a kind of ancient social contract, a way to forge bonds of trust and obligation in a world where survival often depended on the kindness of strangers. The practice, while shocking to our modern sensibilities, was rooted in a deep respect for the guest and a pragmatic understanding of the challenges of life on the steppes. It's important to note that this practice is not something you'll encounter in modern-day Mongolia. Over the centuries, as the country modernized and nomadic lifestyles gave way to more settled existence, the custom faded into the annals of history. But it remains a fascinating and controversial glimpse into a time when hospitality knew no bounds. We leave the vast steppes of Mongolia behind and journey south to Namibia, a country of stark beauty and ancient traditions. Here, in the arid northern reaches, live the Ovahimba, a semi-nomadic people who have maintained their unique customs and way of life for centuries. The Ovahimba practice of Okujapisa Omukazendu, which translates roughly to offering a wife to a guest, is not about survival in the face of hardship, as it was in ancient Mongolia. It's about something far more complex: maintaining social harmony, strengthening bonds within the community, and ensuring the continuation of their lineage. Imagine, if you will, a small village of huts, the sun beating down on the parched earth. A guest arrives, a friend or relative from a distant village. He is welcomed with open arms, offered food and drink, and given a place to rest. But the hospitality doesn't end there. That evening, the host, as a sign of respect and trust, will offer his wife to the guest. This practice is not seen as an act of infidelity or disrespect. Rather, it's viewed as a generous and honorable gesture. The women have a say in the matter, of course, and can refuse if they choose. But the tradition is deeply ingrained in their culture, and acceptance is seen as a sign of loyalty to both husband and community. The Ovahimba are a polygamous society, with men often having multiple wives. This practice helps to prevent jealousy and rivalry between wives, and ensures that all members of the community feel valued and respected. Whatever your stance on the matter, there's no denying that the Ovahimba practice of wife sharing offers a fascinating window into a culture vastly different from our own. Chapter 3. India, Echoes of an Ancient Practice. We leave the African continent behind and journey now to India, a land of vibrant colors, ancient traditions, and a complex tapestry of cultures. Here, in this land of over 1 billion people, we find echoes of wife-sharing practices, though they are shrouded in history and often misunderstood. One such practice, often associated with the ancient Hindu epic, the Mahabharata, is the concept of niyoga. Now, before we delve into this, it's crucial to understand that niyoga was not about casual wife-sharing or sexual liberation. It was a highly ritualized and tightly controlled practice, rooted in the need to produce a male heir. In essence, Niyoga allowed a woman, under specific circumstances, to bear a child with a man other than her husband. This was typically done if the husband was infertile, impotent, or had died without producing a male heir. The chosen man, often a brother-in-law or another close relative, would engage in intercourse with the woman solely for the purpose of procreation. This practice, while seemingly shocking to modern sensibilities, was rooted in the societal norms of ancient India, where lineage and the continuation of the family name were paramount. It's important to note that Niyoga was never a widespread practice and was largely confined to the elite classes of ancient India. Over the centuries, as societal norms evolved, the practice fell into disuse and is now considered obsolete. Niyoga was a product of its time, a reflection of the social, religious, and political realities of ancient India. Chapter 4. Russia. Hospitality in the time of czars. From the heat and dust of India, we travel north to Russia, a land of vast forests, icy tundra, and a history as rich and complex as its landscape. Here, in the heart of this enigmatic nation, we encounter another example of wife-sharing, though one that's often shrouded in myth and speculation. Rumors have persisted for centuries about a practice among certain Russian communities, particularly in rural areas, where a guest might be offered the hospitality of his host's wife. This custom, often referred to as gostinost, which translates to hospitality, was supposedly rooted in the belief that a guest was a blessing from God and should be treated with the utmost respect and generosity. Now, it's important to state that there's no concrete historical evidence to suggest that this practice was ever widespread or officially sanctioned. It's more likely that it existed, if at all, as an isolated custom, practiced by certain communities or families in remote areas. The stories that do exist often depict this form of hospitality as a gesture of trust and friendship, a way to solidify bonds between men in a society where kinship and loyalty were highly valued. The woman's consent, in these narratives, is often ambiguous, with some accounts suggesting she had a say in the matter, while others depict her as having little choice but to comply with her husband's wishes. Whether or not this practice was ever as widespread as some accounts suggest, it remains a fascinating example of the lengths to which some cultures would go to extend hospitality to strangers. Chapter 5. Greenland. Inuit hospitality and the myth of wife-swapping. Our final destination takes us to the icy plains of Greenland, the world's largest island, where we encounter perhaps the most misunderstood and misrepresented example of wife-sharing on our list. The Inuit people, who have inhabited this harsh and unforgiving environment for centuries, have long been associated with the notion of wife-swapping, but the reality, as we'll see, is far more complex. The myth of Inuit wife-swapping likely originated with early European explorers who, encountering a culture vastly different from their own, projected their own preconceptions and biases onto the Inuit people. These explorers, often from societies with rigid social hierarchies and strict sexual mores, were shocked and scandalized by the Inuits' more fluid approach to relationships and sexuality. While it's true that the Inuit did not adhere to the same strict rules of monogamy as their European counterparts, their customs were far from the free-for-all that some accounts might suggest. The practice of sharing wives, or more accurately, engaging in temporary partnerships, was not about casual sex or hedonism. It was about survival. In the harsh and unpredictable environment of the Arctic, where food was scarce and life was precarious, cooperation was essential for survival. Sharing resources, including hunting partners and yes, even wives, was seen as a way to strengthen bonds between families, ensure the survival of the group, and maintain a healthy gene pool in small, isolated communities. These temporary partnerships were often arranged by the couples themselves, with both men and women having a say in the matter. So, while the myth of Inuit wife-swapping might persist in popular imagination, the reality is far more nuanced and complex. Outrow the last bite. So, there you have it. A glimpse into 5 cultures where the boundaries of hospitality are pushed to their limits. We've traveled from the steppes of Mongolia to the icy plains of Greenland, encountering customs and traditions that challenge our preconceptions and force us to confront the complexities of human behavior. If this journey into the heart of human connection has left you hungry for more, hit that subscribe button and join me next time as we venture even further off the beaten path. Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep an open mind.